Hey everybody, this is Matt Atkinson, and you're watching Forward Gettysburg with Aaron Smith.
What is going on, everybody? Aaron Smith here for Forward Gettysburg. It is an absolutely gorgeous day here on the Gettysburg battlefield. For the first day of March, I'll take it. It's a little bit windy, but hey, we will take what we get. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about Wright's attack on July 2nd. You guys may recognize where I'm at. I'm actually on the fields of Pickett's Charge. Now, on July 2nd, there is a bit of a dress rehearsal, if you will, for Pickett's Charge. Absolutely fascinating attack that Wright's Georgian Brigade, that is the 3rd, 22nd, 48th Georgia, and the 2nd Georgia Battalion that they make on July 2nd. So without further ado, let's get into it. So let's set the stage a little bit. It's the afternoon, early evening hours of July 2nd, 1863. James Longstreet's 1st Corps of the Army of Northern Virginia has smashed into General Meade's left flank. Dan Sickles has moved his entire 3rd Corps, his 3rd Union Corps, forward. There is incredibly intense fighting going on that left flank. Devil's Den, the wheat field, Little Round Top, the peach orchard, all these things are happening. And part of the attack was to just kind of have the Southerners attack in echelon, almost like dominoes falling. The idea being that eventually the Union Army will be scattering to reinforce different parts of their line, and eventually the South is going to break through. Wright's Georgian Brigade is actually going to be in the 3rd Corps under A.P. Hill. It's in Anderson's division. Alongside Wright, we have Mahone's Brigade, Posey's Brigade, Lang's Brigade, and Wilcox's Brigade. Wilcox and Lang are going to also be involved in that echelon attack. However, we will see, and as we get further and deeper into the attack here, that while on the far left flank you have these brigades attacking almost in pairs of 2. You have Kershaw, then Semmes, you have Barksdale, then Walford. You have these brigades attacking with another brigade behind them in support. Once we reach the 3rd Corps and Anderson's division's part of the attack, there's no longer that 2nd Brigade in support. It's only going to be one single brigade. And spoiler alert, that is going to be the downfall of this attack on July 2nd. Wright's men, they're posted just in those woods over there behind the Robert E. Lee, the Virginia Memorial. And those men, around 6 in the evening, they're going to step out of those woods. And almost instantaneously, they are going to come under heavy artillery fire by the Union batteries resting behind the camera along Cemetery Ridge. Now, the 2nd Georgia Battalion, they are forward before the rest of the brigade steps out. They're acting as skirmishers. And as they come out, they're supposed to fall into the left side of the brigade. But there's so much commotion, so much happening that they just kind of fall into ranks wherever they are met by their fellow Georgians coming up behind them. Now, as Wright's Georgians step out for this attack, they're going to be surprised, yes, by the Federal artillery bombarding them, but by the undulation of the land. And that's something that when you study the Battle of Gettysburg, by looking at a map, you don't quite get the entire picture. You don't realize that the field where Pickett's Charge is very undulating. It's not just a flat prairie. This is very hilly, again, the best word for it, undulating, very undulating ground here. It's not just a flat parcel of ground. Where I'm standing at, and I don't even know if the camera is probably cutting off the top part of my head, but the Kadori barn should be over there. When I was over there in the woods in the parking lot, I could make out the Kadori barn quite clearly. However, standing here now in a bit of a swale, I can only really see the roof. The Georgians continue with their charge across these fields. Wright is going to describe the artillery fire as some of the most furious he has ever seen. The Union, they are not resting on their laurels. Hancock the Superb, General Winfield Scott Hancock, commander of the 2nd Corps, he realizes what a dire position Sickles, moving his 3rd Corps forward, away from resting upon the 2nd Corps' left flank, has put him in. So he is going to scatter all over the battlefield, trying to shore up the Union line. One of the spots that he's going to do is he realizes there is a gap between the right flank of the 3rd Corps and the left flank of his 2nd Corps. He is going to send forward the 82nd New York and the 15th Massachusetts forward to the Kadori barn. The Confederates have them in their sights, and soon a terrible, terrible firefight is going to break out. Here we are. The Georgians have finally come to the Emmitsburg Road, and they are now going to get into this firefight with the 82nd New York and the 15th Massachusetts. Not only that, but you have Battery B of the 1st Rhode Island Artillery on a small hill just behind the Kadori farm that is assisting them. But are they really assisting them all that much? There are reports that the cannons of that battery are firing very, very short distance, and they're not aiming quite accurately, and they're actually hitting some of the men. These 2 regiments, a combined demi-brigade, as I'm going to refer to them from now on, they total about 700 men. They are under the command of a Colonel George Ward of the 15th Massachusetts. He is a man that has a slight limp in his leg from an injury, so he walks with a cane. It's said that he is resting against the Kadori farmhouse as all this is going on. A bit of shrapnel from an artillery piece is going to hit him in his good leg, and he is going to go down mortally wounded. These 700 Northerners, they do not stand a chance against the some 1,400 Georgians that are coming their way. There is a firefight, but it is a short one. Soon, the Union men are in disarray, and they're going to start to retreat. There is chaos in the Kadori farm lot. It's said that one man of the 48th Georgia, having a Mississippi rifle, is going to spot a very, very nice Springfield rifle on a dying Union soldier. He is going to be polite enough to ask that man, "Are you going to be using that rifle anymore?" The man lets him have a rifle, and the Georgian has a sweet new rifle. Wright's attack now crosses the Emmitsburg Road, and the Union is in trouble. See, Wright's attack, why I referred to it almost as like a dress rehearsal for Pickett's charge, is because some sources cite Wright as actually breaching the Union line. They will cross the road here. They will attack up in that direction. And soon Hancock is now ordering Webb's brigade to fill in those lines and to fight back these Southern attackers. Wright's brigade will face fire from all directions, and soon their attack will have reached its zenith. The Georgians will begin to fall back. Why did Wright's attack initially be successful, but then fail. You see, as they made their way across these fields here, approaching the Emmetsburg Road and Cemetery Ridge, they ran into some skirmishers of Posey's brigade. They will join them on this attack. The rest of Posey's brigade, according to Wright, was supposed to join them on his left, but they never did. You see, Anderson's division fills this very, very interesting role in the history of the Battle of Gettysburg. Day one, they're there. They're a few miles outside of town. When Lee gave that order to take Cemetery Hill, he probably very well could have if he had brought up Anderson's division. On day two, as the Confederate attack on the Union left flank takes place, Anderson's division of the 3rd Corps, not the 2nd Corps, who is doing all of the fighting on the far left flank of the Union line, but the 3rd Corps, Anderson's division, they attack by single brigade. There's no follow-up. There's no other brigade behind the brigades that are attacking, Wilcox and Lang, and then right here, there's no other brigades in support to help drive the attack home. So you're putting a tremendous amount of pressure on these single brigades to breach the line, take that part of the battlefield, and then fend off any sort of counterattack. It's poor planning. We start to get into the communication between the 2nd Corps and the 3rd Corps. What was Anderson doing? What was A.P. Hill doing? There's counts that A.P. Hill was feeling under the weather, etc., during the time of the battle. Did all that play into the inevitable failure and the eventual failure of this attack on July 2nd? Either way, we get into another discussion. Did Wright actually breach the Union lines? I think it's very, very reasonable to think that he did. He did breach those Union lines over there, but as he got there, he was met with an overwhelming counterattack by the Union brigades and artillery. Well, guys, that is what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, I super apologize about the wind. It seems like every time it's a nice day and I'm out on a battlefield trying to film an episode, the wind is just not agreeable. I have this little thing right here. If you notice, I keep looking down to make sure it's there. It's still there. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. This is a really, really interesting topic. Like I said, it's almost like the dress rehearsal, the proof of concept for Pickett's charge. And maybe the success of Wright's brigade gave Lee confidence that an attack in this sector of the field, the center of the Union line, would have been successful. And as we see on July 3rd, that attack is one of the greatest tragedies of the American Civil War. Well, thank you all for watching. If you want to read further about Wright's attack, good friend of the show and good personal friend of myself, Matt Atkinson, has an excellent essay on the National Park Service archives about Wright's attack. In fact, I may have stolen the title for this video from it. Afterwards, after this attack, Wright is going to declare himself masters of the field that day on July 2nd, 1863. So if you're interested in more reading, make sure you check out that essay. A quick Google search will get you there. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you like it. Leave me a comment down below. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I can't tell you how much I appreciate all of the support. It has been overwhelming. The channel is growing. You guys are clearly enjoying what I'm doing. I do have a Facebook channel now. If you guys want to check it out, interact with me, send me a message, let me know your thoughts. Heck, even let me know if you're going to be in Gettysburg. Maybe we'll get together and have a brew or two. Make sure to check out Forward Gettysburg on Facebook. This is Forward Gettysburg. As always, I'm your host, Aaron Smith, and I will catch you on the next one.